So hi guys, my video today is going to be about a lesson I learned the hard way, and is that pushing yourself past your limits, it doesn't make you stronger, it just makes you more prone to burnout. And I should know because I've been there, and yeah, I've done that. Not a very nice place to be in, to be honest. But just to give you an example, I'm sure everybody's been in a burnout before, you know, a burnout at work. But I remember I was working at this job, anyway, so I was doing the work of 2 to 3 people where I was working at the time, and I had this goal in my head that I had my tray because I worked in administration, so I had this goal that my tray had to be cleared every night, or you know, when I finished work, my tray had to be cleared, so that in the mornings, the next morning, I come to work and it'll be like a brand new start type of thing, you know, empty tray. And because I knew that the next day was going to be really fucking busy, you know what I mean? So anyway, and yeah, that never happened. My tray was never ever empty during business hours. So what I used to do was I would go to work, do a full day's work, then I would, because I lived close to where I was working, so I'd go home, I'd have dinner, do, you know, muck around, and then have dinner, and then I'll go back to work for about 4 hours, until about 10 o'clock at night, and by then my whole tray would be finished. My whole tray would be clear, you know, and I was satisfied. And then I'd go home, and then I just got into that cycle of doing that, and I did that for years. You know, all the signs were there, you know, all the signs, but I was so hyper-focused on that one thing of clearing my tray that I would completely ignore those signs. So because I did that for years, things just kept on building up and building up, you know, until one day it all came tumbling down. I was, you know, having trouble at work, trouble concentrating. I was feeling drained, having problems sleeping. I was chronically fatigued, everything, all those things, you know, when you just drive yourself into the ground. So yeah, until one day, I think it was a blessing actually when I did finally crash and burn, because that made me stop and think, maybe that's not a good way to, you know, to do things at work. So yeah, so I look at it as a blessing. I don't look at it, well, it was a lesson. It was a hard lesson that I had to learn at the time. But when I, in retrospect, looking back, you know, looking at it back then, it was a blessing to me, because it made me stop and think. It made me look at how I do things, you know, at work. Why now that I don't hyper focus on things, and if I do hyper focus on things, I see the triggers there. And yeah, now I listen to my body now, because I'm so aware of my emotions, my feelings. If I'm feeling tired, I stop. I don't, usually, you know, back then, if I was feeling tired, just push through, you know, another hour, and then that hour would turn into 1 or 2 hours or 3 hours, and then yeah, you know, you get into that cycle. So yeah, so that was my lesson learned, a huge lesson, but a blessing to me at the same time.